You always seem to be there when I was there. You know.
I hired lots of good people. I will take credit for that anyway.
Oh yeah, we did all those exchanges with the school in France and all that.
We had a good time.
It was.
Does anybody need a book? Did everybody get a book? Who's here?
It was a wonderful time.
Kelly, did you get a book? Did you want a book? Okay.
How many do we have left?
I have 2 books.
I can get the ebook.
Okay. I have a book right here for you if you want. How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm gonna steal one of your cards. How are you?
Good. How's
Good.
everybody today?
Fantastic.
Hi, Rose. Hi.
Hey, Rose. Live dangerously, is it?
Oh, yes, I love it.
Did you want a cookie?
No.
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 I gotta get rid of the cookie.
Oh.
So I don't need it.
Wow, that's such great hospitality.
Isn't it though?
The temptation thing.
Well, what kind is it?
Do you know, when I
They look
went
pretty good.
to Sanders today to play bridge, and there's a little alcove, and there's this round table, and there's this big puzzle sitting on it, and people just come by.
Oh,
Puzzle. Oh, fun. See if they could put something on.
I love it.
All right. We have a few seconds. I'll start right at 1800.
What did you do to yours? Hello. Great.
Did you deliver meals?
Okay.
Did you deliver meals this morning?
Here we are. Hope everybody's doing well.
Wednesday's your day.
Hope everybody had a good
Wednesday is
day.
your day.
And Monday.
Monday.
I have
Oh,
another
that's right. You do
different
your
round on Monday.
Are you doing well?
Pardon me?
Are you doing well?
I am. I'm doing well today. It's a good day. A lot of good
And
things.
Jeanette didn't get sick?
No, she did not.
Fantastic.
I saw Ken McCall. So we were in this meeting, and Ken was sick, so he was on Zoom next to me. In fact, Ken, if you're watching, I'm going to steal your thunder, and you're funny. So I accused him of that I got sick because he was on Zoom next to me. And he was very quick to say, well, they don't call it a computer virus for nothing. So, I mean, isn't that great?
That's a good comeback.
That was a great comeback. Ken gets the credit for that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's begin with prayer. I want to use the prayer that they have in the book here in the leader guide, because they're going to be prayers based on Proverbs and opening us up for wisdom. God of all wisdom, who guides us in all our pathways, thank you for bringing us together here. Thank you for these Proverbs, for the time we have together to study and to share. Please open our ears and eyes to hear your voice as we read, discuss, and listen, to seek your wisdom in the text and in our conversation. We ask you to lead us as we seek the way of wisdom and light the path we walk in its pursuit. Humble our hearts, open our eyes, open our ears. Amen. Well, the author, just a little bit of information. Dr. Hernandez, the author of Pathways to Wisdom, assistant professor of the Old Testament interpretation, actually at Southern Baptist Theological Seminary up the road. He holds a PhD in the Hebrew Bible, and especially in wisdom literature. He's taught at a number of distinguished institutions. He has done work with the Dead Sea Scrolls. And he comes with a lot to offer to us on this. So we're going to, I want to put this question out there before you, that what are some of the corner and border pieces we find in Proverbs? We're going to talk about that right after we see the video. But we're going to see the video on this. Jump right in. It's about 9 minutes on that. And some of the stuff of what he's going to tell us tonight is stuff that you may have read in the introduction and a little bit of what we talked about last week. Then we're getting into some good discussion, and I hope you're in a playful mood tonight, because we're going to play a game tonight as well.
Why not?
I know we should have an enjoyable evening. All right, just make sure we turn up nice and loud, Kelly.
The book of Proverbs is like a puzzle. Now, I don't like puzzles that much. I feel overwhelmed when a box of puzzle pieces is poured out on a table and they're scattered all over the place. Some pieces are face up and some pieces are face down. And I feel overwhelmed by having to put everything together in order for it to make sense. If we approach the book of Proverbs like I approach puzzles, we might be a little bit overwhelmed. We might think that there's hundreds of pieces that we sort of have to put together in order for it to make sense, when in actuality, the book of Proverbs really does make a lot of sense if we understand it to be one work of a literary genius. You see, in the book of Proverbs, there are also sort of these corner puzzle pieces that we can recognize, themes that start to show up over and over and over again that we can put at the corners of our reading. And then we realize there's sort of these border pieces that we can put together. And then we match the colors, as it were, with Proverbs that are similar in theme and similar in texture. And so the Proverbs, to a certain extent, is like a puzzle, but we have to approach it as a puzzle aficionado, ready to put this together and enjoying the process. There are two separate things that we do when we read a particular proverb. We look at the proverb and we try to interpret what it actually means, but then we have to go through the process of applying that proverb to life. And sometimes those proverbs apply differently at different times. Take, for example, the proverbs that relate to the parent-child relationship, the father-son relationship that we see repeatedly throughout the Proverbs. You know, when we're young and we don't have children, we look at these parenting proverbs and they don't really mean that much to us practically. When we have children, those proverbs apply in a different way. Sometimes we look at these proverbs as practical in our immediate circumstances. And then when we move on in life and we have grandchildren, those parenting proverbs take on a little bit of a new light. So at different stages of life, the proverbs have different applications. In the first few verses of Proverbs chapter 1, we see that the writer is giving a general overview of what the intention of the book is. So in verses 2 through 4 of chapter 1, we see that Proverbs are intended to give wisdom and instruction and the like. But then we get to verse 5 of chapter 1, and we see that the Proverbs are actually not exclusively about giving instruction, but really want the reader to actually have a certain disposition as they approach the text. That is, the reader is encouraged to be teachable as they continue throughout the rest of the composition. Throughout the book of Proverbs, the author continues to call the reader to hear, normally by using language relating from a father to a son or from a parent to a child. The writer continues to say, hear my son, and uses language like that. Well, the question is, if we are the reader, how are we supposed to hear? We are reading. We read with our eyes and we hear with our ears. So what is the writer actually getting at? The writer is trying to call the audience to listen with their eyes. We as readers are encouraged to hear and to obey the Proverbs by hearing with our eyes. A couple of years ago, my wife and I decided that we would teach our child to ride a bike. He was getting to the age where his friends were riding bikes, and so we wanted to teach him how to do it as well. We naturally resorted to the training wheel method. So we put training wheels on a two-wheel bike, and we thought that this would be a way in which he could widen the base of his bike so that he wouldn't fall as much. He would get distracted by looking at things around him, and he would fall a lot, still, way more than we expected with training wheels. We learned from that experience. About 5 years later, when we decided to teach our daughter to ride a bike, we actually started to use a balance bike instead of a bike with training wheels. Now, a balance bike helps you focus on your surroundings while you balance the bike instead of trying to pedal while you're learning how to balance a bike. Our daughter learned more quickly with the balance bike. It seems a little bit oxymoronic to say that you can teach someone how to ride a bike by having them use their hands and not use their feet, but that's exactly what the balance bike method teaches. It teaches you to use your hands and look around while you're learning how to balance. The same principle applies in Proverbs. The author continuously encourages the reader to hear, hear, hear. But the author is expecting the reader to actually read. The author is encouraging the reader to listen with their eyes. Proverbs 12:15 says, "The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice." We see this fool, wise man, foolish person, wise person dichotomy in the Proverbs a lot. Notice what this particular text says though. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes. Fools in Proverbs are depicted as people that do not take advice from other people. They're not teachable. And so their way is right in their own eyes, but the Proverbs depicts that person heading toward destruction, toward their own self-destruction. A wise man listens to advice. Notice that the wise person in this text is actually the person that receives more knowledge and more instruction than the foolish person. One might think that the foolish person needs more instruction than the wise person, or should listen to more instruction than the wise person, but the Proverbs present the opposite. The wise person listens to instruction, and that person is on their way to wisdom. Sometimes when we come to the Proverbs, we have this idea that if you just learn a bunch of information, you're actually going to be much wiser. And that's not exactly what the Proverbs are getting at. The Proverbs are getting at this idea that the teachable person is actually the wise person. What we see in the Proverbs is the following. Those people that ignore instruction are fools. Those people that are teachable are wise. What we see from the very beginning of the book is that teachability is in fact one of the main points of the book. Not just compiling a bunch of information or compiling a bunch of commandments and doing them. If one leaves the book of Proverbs being more teachable so that they can learn more the next time they come back to Proverbs, then the book of Proverbs has accomplished one of its main goals. Much of how we speak on a daily basis includes metaphors, non-literal speech that represents something much bigger or even much different than the literal language that we use. In the book of Proverbs, we see this repeatedly, especially as it pertains to the human life. In the book of Proverbs, we see that the human life is depicted in one of two ways. There is a way to righteousness, or a way to wisdom, and a way of wrongdoing that's presented. Those ways represent human lives, and the reader of the book of Proverbs is encouraged to take the trajectory of the way of wisdom.
Some comments, questions, some takeaways, things that grabbed you?
When I read that part about the balance of the bicycle, I thought that was really interesting, because in our generation, obviously, it was training wheels and all that. It wasn't about looking where you're going. And I think what at least I got out of it was that the Proverbs would help you look where you're going if you had some knowledge of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't know if that's appropriate or not.
It certainly is appropriate. Yeah, whatever.
I never even heard of a balanced bike.
It's a scooter with a seat.
Yeah.
A scooter with a seat?
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not a bike at all. It's a scooter.
It's a scooter with a seat.
It's just built like a small bicycle, but you can teach a 3 or 4-year-old the idea of controlling the bike. It's speed on the ground.
It's short enough for them to use their feet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
So that way they're not always looking down at the ground and then running. That's what mine did.
Okay. That makes
Yes.
sense.
Ran off into the weeds, you know, instead of looking where you're going. You're so concerned about your balance.
I always see words of wisdom as something that you apply case by case. You know?
So, contextual, right? Situational.
Yeah, right. Situational, like people tend to come to me for advice on things, and I always thought, God, I hope I said the right thing. You know, I hope I have something
Different kids learn
you
different.
know.
Different kids learn to ride differently.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that all goes well with what he was saying about, the metaphors and that, the non-literal. So we don't take, we got to be careful not to take them all literally, and remember not to take them as a promise because they are a proverb.
Right.
So, don't insult the alligator until you cross the river. Okay? I mean, that's a nice metaphor, right? So, yeah. But it's not a promise that an alligator won't bite you. What else? How did you hear and how would you explain this listening with your eyes, hearing with your eyes?
You're reading the words, but you're interpreting, because he was saying the teachable are wise. And so you're having to read with your eyes, but your understanding is.
Yeah. Kind of like read between the lines. And I guess don't take it at face value because it's all figurative language. So
a lot of it is figurative.
And to internalize that, you have to understand figurative language.
That's true. So when you read, do you hear the words? Are you one of those readers that when you're reading, you hear the words in your head? Anybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, any of us that raised their hand, keep your hands up. Okay. Are you a speed reader?
Depends on the book.
There was a speed reading thing. It was really a fad kind of when I was in school way back.
Evelyn Wood.
Yes. Yes. Any of you that say those words, have you been able to do the Evelyn Wood?
You can't.
You can't. No. That's right. Yeah. Because it's just like seeing and picking up, right? You kind of, wasn't it a weird way of going down the page in kind of a zigzag thing? Right. And so Proverbs are not meant to be speed read. So for those who don't hear the words when you're reading, say the words out loud. Read it out loud. It's a good way to read a lot of the scripture, actually.
Right.
Think about what you're reading. When Jesus is telling a parable, say it out loud. Or
explain it to somebody else.
I mean, just read it. I mean, read it to yourself so you can hear it. If that. So that's kind of what it is. So you can hear the words. So you're actually hearing it twice. You're getting it with your eyes and getting it with your ears. So you're actually getting it. You're actually hearing it twice then. Other stuff from the video. Anybody online? Was anybody? Or Kelly, you have something you wanted to add in? No? Okay. Just want to make sure we're getting it. Okay. All right. So what would you say from your knowledge, however in depth or beginning it is, of the Proverbs that are in the Bible, in the book of Proverbs, what would you say are some of the corner or border pieces? Maybe it's themes, maybe it's some words, maybe it's the way it presents the two. So any ideas on some corner pieces or?
You mean how you approach it,
or just some of the Proverbs that you
themselves?
think, the Proverbs themselves that you think, oh, that gives us our frame, our corner, and our edge.
Are you meaning like teachability?
Okay, teachability. We can do that. I'm trying to leave it really open. So
being open to hearing and learning.
okay. No, because teachability is a theme throughout Proverbs, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Other things that you can think of.
Vision.
Vision. Is there a proverb about vision?
Sure.
I think there is. Where there is no vision, the people perish.
Oh, that'd be good.
Isn't that a proverb?
Is that probably Lincoln?
I think it's in there. Is that proverb or what?
Or Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
Maybe both.
Yes.
I think the first part, the importance of Proverbs, is like a corner piece, because if you take that away and you start reading with number 8,
Which says,
my child, warnings against evil.
Oh, okay.
That's what my Bible
all right.
says.
So,
My child, listen to your father's teaching and do not forget your mother's advice. That's 8. So you start with that. I don't know, I think a person might be lost.
Are you going to say, okay, and so what?
Yeah, you might be lost, like,
right.
What?
Okay. So the importance for life.
yeah. So the importance of Proverbs, it kind of gives you a little explanation as to why they have value. And then, okay, buy in.
Yeah.
In the
All people
book,
need knowledge.
Knowledge. Okay.
and in the book, he made a big deal about being willing to correct or to accept reproof, to accept correction.
Yes. So again, teachability, but we can put accept correction.
Proverbs 29:18 is about
Vision.
which I'm sure you do that, but it also says, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. So that's just the first half.
Oh, okay. All right, so keeping, there is a sense that obedience okay, well, let's see how these play out in that. We're going to look at some of these. We'll see how these play out over the next several weeks on this. In the book, on page 21 in your book, those that might know Spanish better than I do, could you say those two words the way they're supposed to be pronounced?
The precioso tesoro of teachability.
That is, can you say that again? That was so beautiful.
The precioso tesoro of teachability.
Okay. And what does that mean? What was he talking
The
about?
precious treasure of teachability.
Okay. And he gave an example. Does anybody remember that he was talking about his grandma? Right? Yeah. All right. So, do you have some of these from your life? You do. All right. Share. Go ahead. If you have any of those special treasures, precious treasures from your life.
I do from my grandma.
Oh, what?
She used to tell a joke. She was a very serious lady most of the time, but I don't know, I guess maybe around us kids she got silly. And I don't remember the setup for the joke, and it was in Spanish, and her joke was about this rich young man who had everything, tenía todo menos vergüenza. Vergüenza is shame.
Oh, okay.
So that to her that was a joke, and she would laugh at it, like, because she'd go through this whole litany of things that this young man had. He had money and prestige and position, high position, and all, and then the end of it was tenía todo menos vergüenza. And then he had everything except for shame, and she thought it was funny.
Okay.
She thought it was like funny, and as a child, I would laugh because she laughed. And as I thought about it later on, I was like, that's not funny.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Okay.
like, why did she laugh? I used to wonder, why would she think that was funny? I think she was trying to be funny for my sake because I was a little girl, but that was her. And now that I think about it, it was more like words of wisdom. It wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
Because he had everything except for shame.
Except for shame.
You know, and I was like, that's not funny. But she thought it was funny.
Anybody else?
This is not exactly a proverb, but I was always wanting things as a kid, which we all do. And I was always wishing for things. My grandmother would always say, if wishes were horses, we all could ride.
My grandmother would say, beggars would ride.
Oh, okay.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Be happy with what you have instead of
Right.
always wanting something that you don't have.
My Aunt Sophie was kind of the grandmother figure, and she was a marvelous cook, and her sisters would always ask her for a recipe, and then they'd get mad at her because, accuse her of leaving something out. Because it never turned out as good as Aunt Sophie's, right? So when we were staying with them for a while, I watched my Aunt Sophie cook. It never a measuring cup, never a teaspoon. So, and I asked about the recipe, and she said something like, because I think she even said it to her sisters, and I'll make it more family friendly than how my aunt probably said it. But something of the nature, if you always follow the recipe, you're never going to have any fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Rock the boat sometimes.
That's right.
If I wanted to do something that my dad didn't want me to do, or go somewhere that he didn't want me to go, he would just look at me and say, it's too far and snaky.
Too far and snaky, okay.
Too many snakes, too many impediments along the way that could get you in trouble.
I've heard that one.
Yes, and that was his answer.
All right.
I got a full board scholarship to UT, and he says, no, it's too far and snaky. I was too far away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daddy's girl.
All right. Well, let's look Proverbs 1:1-5, and then 12:15. Brenda, I think you have Proverbs 1:1-5, and then we're going to hear Rose. I think you have 12:15. We're going to hear 12:15 right after.
The Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. For gaining wisdom and instruction, for understanding words of insight, for receiving instruction in prudent behavior, doing what is right and just and fair, for giving prudence to those who are simple, knowledge and discretion to the young. Let the wise listen and add to their learning, and let the discerning get guidance.
Okay, now 12:5.
Fools think they are doing right, but the wise listen to advice.
Okay. So how does 12:15 echo the first 5 verses of the way the book starts? And this is for anybody, not just for those who read.
That's why they're fools.
Yeah,
They don't take advice.
What's that?
Fools think they know it all.
Yeah.
The wise man is willing to learn and to listen.
Okay, yes. And it's interesting in a book with so much metaphor that it really does this kind of black and white on the trajectory. Wisdom and fool. And
No gray area.
it's really going to show the distinction between the two on that.
Well, it actually says that the wise listen and add to their learning, so if you're taking advice, you're adding to your learning.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Well, let's have some fun. I need my fun things. I'm sorry. I gotta run back to my office. I apologize. Keep talking about this.
I don't know about you, but I had a boss that you could not tell him anything. He was always right. His way was the only way.
Well, what are you
I had one like that.
Well,
somebody.
You got that right.
Yeah, that always fits it.
So you didn't put the what else?
I went to West Texas State.
Okay.
It was an hour and a half away.
Where were you?
I mean,
And North Carolina.
It was a long way off.
you have a tape in your head going, I've got the power.
Okay, I need 2 volunteers
To do.
to play the game.
Good.
I need 2 volunteers to play the game. Sorry, online people, it'll be hard for you to play. But if you want, so online you can be some of the players instead of the person giving the instructions. So if you want to hear what's happening and try to do it at home online or wherever you are, that would be great. So the first 2 people, come on up.
Come on down.
Okay.
Be your
What color? You want black, red, purple, or blue? Red? Here you go. Okay, that's yours. You get to stand here. You're going to come over, just stand right over here. Okay, so Rose is going to give you instructions on what to draw. Okay, you can't say exactly what it is. Okay, you just have to give instructions. And you have to do it with your eyes closed. You have to do it with your eyes closed. Okay, so at home, listen to the instructions, have a piece of paper. If you want to try it as this is happening, okay? So, all right, are you ready? All right, you got the board, okay? Yeah, okay. So, can you read that?
Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you got it.
Okay. Oh, I can't, I have to give her instruction.
Yes.
All right. Touch down to the left. Draw down, down to the left, down. Oh, okay, stop. Now go straight up.
Okay, all right. You can open your eyes. All right, what do you think she was supposed to draw?
A triangle? A corner.
A triangle.
A triangle, she said.
Do you have a triangle?
Kind of.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, she does. It's a sliver.
I had to go over before I went down.
Yeah.
You can't go down to the left, you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mine ended up being a check, because I went down to the left and then up.
That's what I
Yours
was
was-
wanting
yeah.
her
Stayed
to.
right on the line?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I didn't understand exactly what you meant by touching the, I don't know.
Go straight back up, but see, my eyes are closed, so I went off a little bit.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
if you would have
yeah.
followed the line, you wouldn't have had it. So
Yeah.
Down and to the left.
thankfully,
Right.
your eyes were closed and you didn't go exactly straight back up, right? So you were able to do it.
So I
Okay.
made a triangle.
Yeah, well, you
Kind of
got it.
skinny triangle.
Yeah, but it's still a triangle. Isosceles or one of
There we
those.
go. We got a triangle.
It's a triangle.
We got a
It
triangle.
is.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, who's next? Who wants to be adventurous?
I'll draw.
Okay.
I can't draw with the eyes open, so it won't make me.
Oh, am I done?
Yeah, yeah. Does
Okay.
somebody else want to try it?
Okay.
That's a nice one, I draw better.
Who wants to give the instructions?
I'll give instructions. 'Cause
Come
I
on
can't
up.
draw. Well, let's
With your
just-
eyes closed, you'd be
Well, let's really
surprised.
draw.
All right, what color do you want to use?
Yes.
Red?
Yes,
Red.
it is.
All right, get it ready.
But you're not having to go there and draw a cat or something.
Oh, that'd be
Eyes closed. Maybe.
Okay.
Draw a straight horizontal line. From there, go up and little to the left, and down again. And down to the first line, and then down to the left again.
Did you repeat that?
Yes. To go to the starting point and draw another line down to the left.
How are you supposed to know where the starting point
I know,
is?
you
Your
can't
eyes
see
are
it.
closed.
You have to guess.
Keep going.
What do you keep going?
She's like, I'm finished, I'm done.
Okay, that's interesting.
Okay. All right. All right. Any ideas?
What was another?
I give lousy instructions. Well, part of it started out okay.
The horizontal was fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up and to the left.
Up and to the left.
One started to.
And then go straight down,
Straight
and
down.
then go down to the left.
Well, that's what it, I mean, that's what he did.
Well,
It's
that's
the-
down to the left.
No, but from the starting point.
It's the starting, you can't go
Okay.
back from the
Well,
starting point,
this is
now
the
you
left.
can't
Oh.
see.
So-
Mine looks like a dog that's
That would
moving
have
leg.
been down this way.
No.
That would
Well,
have
that's a great, that would be great, but that's not what I should have said.
Okay.
What I should have said is draw a straight line,
Okay, so do it with your eyes open on this one.
draw a
Straight. Draw a straight line.
horizontal line. All right. Go up from the end of the line, up and to the left.
Whoops. Tell them sooner.
Okay.
Or tell them not to
Okay,
stop.
Miss Carpenter, you're gonna get in trouble here.
Down to the end of that start, the end of the horizontal line.
Down and to the left.
Retrace your steps. Draw another line. No. I thought I gave better instructions than that.
Well, you better, I'm not good at following.
Okay, go, follow that line to the end. Stop. Draw the line downward and to the left. Stop.
Okay, what do you think Donna is getting Wayne to try to draw?
Arrow.
Yes,
An arrow.
an arrow.
A funky looking arrow.
An arrow.
Una flecha.
It's like in the
Okay, that.
Here's our arrow.
I don't want to take instructions.
Anybody else want to try one?
Yeah.
All right,
I want to try drawing.
You want to try drawing? Great.
I'll try to get it.
Okay.
If you said down at an angle, but you said.
Which color do you want?
You don't know what that-
Red, of course.
But it's hard to give it.
Yeah.
You give me the easy color, right?
Yes,
Eyes closed, huh?
I did. I gave you the easy one.
Oh, it's just as hard with your eyes open.
So we'll start with the eyes closed. Okay.
All right, draw a circle. Okay, and then put a dot down about 2 inches. Lift the
In the
marker,
circle?
lift the marker, and, oh wait, and then put a dot. Oh, now you messed me up, man. Yeah. Okay, and then put another dot a little bit to the right. And then below, go down without dragging the marker. Pick the marker up, move your hand down a little bit.
Tell me what to do first.
Lift the marker,
And then?
and then move your hand down just about an inch. And then draw a line. A little short.
Horizontal line.
Okay, that's good.
Is it?
Oh, okay, very good.
Yes, but
Hey, it's in the circle.
it is in the circle. But what kind of face does that look like?
That doesn't look like a happy face.
It's not a smiley face,
It's
is
not
it?
a smiling face.
Close to.
No, it's like this.
Okay, so,
It's a smirk.
alright, so you're gonna do one with your eyes open, okay? You all can give instructions.
Oh, everybody?
Everyone.
Okay.
Show me all these people's.
Oh.
Okay?
Yep.
So, only one person can give one, you can only give one instruction, so other people get a chance, okay?
One at a time.
One at a time, and once you give an instruction, you let someone else. Okay, and you get to, you know what, it'll be more fun with the eyes closed.
For whom?
For me.
You see that face?
I know, I did, it was what you drew, yes.
Draw a line straight down.
Draw a line the same length straight to the right from where you ended.
Draw another line straight up.
Draw a horizontal line to the left.
There we go, what do you got?
A rectangle, not a square.
Well, it's pretty close.
Okay, pretty close.
With her eyes closed, not bad.
Table. It's a bird's eye view of the table.
Yes. Okay, and the point or points of this game, or the learnings and the takeaways from this game in relation to Proverbs.
Practice giving instructions.
Oh, for Proverbs?
Yeah, I mean, in relation to trying to grasp onto Proverbs. And
Trying to navigate instruction, probably, or make sense of instruction.
to make sense of the instructions, yeah, is hard, right?
Accepting it.
Was it any easier with your eyes open?
A little bit.
A little bit, but not much, right? It was still what you're hearing. So, one of the descriptions for the arrow and the triangle was go down to the left. Okay, go down, to the left. Okay. What's another way to describe that type of line?
At an angle.
Diagonal.
Diagonal. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And the thing is Proverbs is not always this clear.
right.
Okay? Proverbs is kind of like what we get. So Proverbs isn't going to be always the nice, explicit things. And that was, with the triangle, you made an adjustment, right? Because it was going down rather than, the triangle with the base and then, going up. So Proverbs is we think Proverbs is really an exact thing, and I think we get that perception because there is this trajectory. There's this really dichotomy between the wise and the foolish. And so it makes it appear black and white, but it may not be. So reading then, to really be, hearing. So we talked about what we have as some of the edges. So we're going to read several Proverbs, several verses. We're going to read those. There's no certain order that we have to read them in. We'll just go around with the scripture that you have. Wayne, we'll start with you, and we'll do the clockwise thing. But as we listen to these, let's see if we can pick up on the theme.
Okay, Proverbs 4:20 and 21. My son, give attention to my words. Incline your ear to my sayings. Do not let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Proverbs 20:12. The hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord has made them both. And then 28 and 9. One who turns away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer, is an abomination. Whoa.
Proverbs 16:20. It pays to take life seriously. Things work out when you trust in God. And 10:8. A wise heart takes orders. An empty head will become unglued.
I like that.
Will become what?
Unglued.
Unglued.
Okay, Proverbs 18:15. The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. And 18:13. To answer before listening, that is folly and shame.
Think before you speak.
Sandy?
Proverb 23:12. Apply your mind to instruction and your ear to words of knowledge. And then 21:23 is to watch over mouth and tongue is to keep out of trouble.
Oh, yes.
That's true.
All right, I've got Proverbs 13:10. By pride comes nothing but strife, but with the well-advised is wisdom. And 17:28. Even a fool is counted wise when he holds his peace. When he shuts his lips, he is considered perceptive.
So what theme or themes did you hear throughout the thread that ran through them?
Well, what you do to be wise, certain things you do and don't do to be wise.
Okay, yeah, certain things you do and don't do, and what were some of those things? What were some of those threads?
Watch your mouth. Watch what you say, I guess.
Okay.
Think before you speak.
Okay.
Think before talking.
Yeah.
Think before talking. Can I put listen before talking?
Yes.
Listen before speaking.
Pay attention.
Pay attention. What do you have to do to pay attention?
Hear and see, listen.
Yep. Hear, listen.
Use your mind and your ear.
Wait.
Focus.
Yeah.
Sandy, what was that?
Use your mind and your ears, like mine was,
Yeah.
to apply your mind to instruction, your ear to words of knowledge.
Again, we have to hear and listen.
Well, this one said to trust in God, but taking life seriously. So,
Yeah, is that, what's,
that's 16.
okay.
Seek knowledge.
Okay. Trust God.
Watch what you say.
Seek knowledge. Okay, yeah.
If you're not listening, God's not really looking what you, doesn't think what you're saying is worth anything.
If you're not listening, what?
If you're not listening to God, what you say back to Him in prayers isn't worth Him hearing. It's detestable.
It's an abomination.
Yeah.
That was pretty darn harsh, right?
Yeah. Abomination.
Mine says detestable.
Detestable. Wow.
What verse was that?
28:9. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Well, pride produces strife.
Okay. Was that in yours that you read? Okay.
It just says God has no use for the prayers of the people who won't listen to Him.
Okay. God has no use for the prayers of the people that won't listen. Wow. Okay. Listen, hear, listen, focus. Listen, hear, listen. Seek knowledge, trust. So as you read through Proverbs, so as you read the book, be reading through some of the Proverbs. And I'm wondering if the hearing, okay, and I mean God, so the trusting God and seeking God, I might think, I'm going to just propose that maybe those are some of the corner pieces. Okay, trusting God, seeking God, trusting in God, being open to God. And the listening gives us our border. Because nothing, if we don't listen to Him, if we don't hear Him, none of it works. There is no puzzle to put together. There are no proverbs to build a beautiful picture of wisdom. Now, it's just the thought I have. Let's see if that plays out as we go through on it. In the little game, what was it like to try and listen to the instruction? And I should have said you're not allowed to ask question back, right? What was it like for those that had to receive the instruction?
You have to really concentrate because you're trying to do two things at once.
Okay. So when you were doing it, did you listen to the instruction and then do it, or were you trying to do it as you were being instructed?
I think I tried to listen first, but I'm not sure. I think I tried to listen.
Yeah, I remember. I wanted to, like, I didn't want to. She was telling me lift your marker up, and I thought no, because when I do that, I'm lost.
Then you don't have a reference point.
I don't have a reference point. I know what I just drew, so it's like no, tell me what's next, and then I'll decide what I want to do. Wait a minute, you're messing me up.
So you're going to instruct the instructor on how you want the instruction.
She's like, lift your marker up. I said, no, wait.
Let me know how it
Now
works
I
in
remember
embracing
I
the
am.
Proverbs. I'm going to instruct the instructor on how I want to be instructed.
It would have been helpful to have all the instructions and then to.
Does life work that way?
No.
No, goodness.
It'd be nice.
There are no instructions. There
But-
are instructions, actually.
Yeah. But let's remember, Proverbs, as you read through, you get that, but it's not, it would have been nice, right? Okay, give me all the instructions, so I'm going to try to do it, and then guide me through, right? And then talk to me again. Tell me everything you want me to do. And then, now let's do it together, and I'll do it, but you're still going to tell me again, because I can't remember everything.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right? So there's the reinforcement there. Okay, so that would have been a little better, right?
Oh yeah, he talks in the book about repetition.
Yeah.
You know, so it would be like telling you more than once how to draw it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, you have to decide how I want to instruct.
Right.
Okay? So I didn't give you time to plan out, okay, here's how I want to instruct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the square ended up being pretty easy, right? Although we got a rectangle. What did we leave out on the instructions from the square?
Same length.
Same length.
Somebody said that.
Same length. But how are you going to do that with your eyes closed, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said it, like you said, how you could do it with your eyes shut.
Right.
You could have given all of us a paper with the instructions on it and have us do what it says. And we've all would have done something different.
You think?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
So hence Proverbs.
Yes.
Right. But
Different interpretation. We all have the same directions.
Yeah.
I've done that in the past with my students. And it's fascinating what they come up with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great...
But if I say, so for the repetition, I say, okay, everybody take out a piece of paper and a pencil. Okay, I want you to draw a horizontal line 2 inches long. Without lifting up the pencil, then you're going to draw a vertical line from that point up 2 inches. And then without lifting up, so you stay connected to the paper, I want you to draw another horizontal line from that back towards the way you started. So if you, so probably would have said, okay, so let's draw a line to the right. Okay, so let's draw a 2 inch line to the right. Now let's go 2 inches up. Now we got to go 2 inches over to the left. And without lifting up, we're going to draw a straight line 2 inches down. Okay, and I tell you all that and say, okay, now let's do it. Let's start. Put your pencil on the paper. Okay. The difficulty with Proverbs, it doesn't get that detailed sometimes. It's more like a game. Okay, but you were talking about the repetition. Remind from what Dr. Hernandez was saying about the repetition.
Well, it was part of the, it uses repetition as a way of leaving a lasting impact.
Mm-hmm.
And he had it tied in with the precious treasure about the grandmother repeating herself all the time. It's how he remembered those things that were, you know, the most important. And he says that that's one way Proverbs reminds you what's most important to the author of Proverbs is by repeating those things all the time.
Yes, and one of the repetitive phrases is going to be how a fool will not listen. You know, the trajectories. That's going to really be repeated throughout that time. Okay. So with the next session, next week, chapter 2, 35 to 64. But be looking at some of the Proverbs. I know he lists some, but just go ahead and read, and if we have questions and that, and see what you think. What are going to be your corner pieces? Pardon me. You know, so start with your puzzle. What you think are your corner pieces and your borders on that. Okay? All right. Almighty God, continue to open our hearts and minds to the power of your Holy Spirit so we may hear your wisdom as we seek your wisdom. Amen. Thank you all.